Tony was different to the other two in that they had free reign of the house. They've got a doll's house which they lived in, but he used to like going around the rest of the house and finding objects, and he would interact with the objects. So for example, I had a 4-leafed clover, a dried 4-leafed clover on a surface, which he climbed up onto, and he ate one of the leaves of the 4-leafed clover, and I thought that's quite interesting, because he's asking the question, is it still lucky? It's a 4-leafed clover inherently, but it's only got the 3 leaves. I thought, well, that's quite an interesting bit of artwork, you know. And he would produce avocado sculptures. He liked eating avocados, but he'd create some kind of interesting shapes from them. So I would photograph these, and these are prints that went on sale. He did an amazing piece of origami once. He found a sheet of paper which was flat, and he folded it. He did many straight flat folds, and I thought, I don't know how he did it, because he did it in private. But again, I thought that was quite amazing, and if all rats did that, I'd think, fine, that's what all rats do. Like, you know, a dog might chew a ball, you know, and leave it in pieces on the floor. But Tony just seemed to do what the other two weren't doing, and what he did was really interesting, I thought. So I entered his work there's an online gallery, Saatchi online gallery, so I sort of loaded up his work there, and they have a competition every so many weeks, and I entered one of his pieces, which was the avocado sculpture, into the competition, and he got well over 500 votes for his work, which I thought was really impressive. He didn't win the competition, but I think 500 is pretty good. And I happened to be chatting to a photographer for a local newspaper, the Evening Chronicle, about it, and this photographer used to have a pet rat, so she was interested in the story. Took it back to her editor, and they came and did took photographs of Tony, of me, and I was interviewed, and there was a full-page article in the Chronicle, and within a day, this story had been picked up by the world press, and so it had been taken to papers, you know, sort of to the States, Canada, and India. It went to China, went everywhere, and then it was Channel 4 invited me down to London to appear on the news, Channel 4 News. That was good, and then the footage from that interview was taken by CNN News, so that was shown around the world on CNN. And then on the back of that, I was contacted by the Discovery Channel, who wanted to make a documentary about Tony, so they came and did a documentary. And so it was great. All of that interest was great, and it was what was amazing as well is when the public started to contact me and engage in their interest. And there was a lot of debate. A lot of artists were unhappy that Tony should make more money than they do, which kind of takes us into a whole area about what gives work its value, so it was a very interesting time for Tony. But unfortunately he passed away shortly afterwards. I don't know why. I don't know if he had an inherent illness or whether the stress of all the attention and travel and it was too much for him, I don't know. But there you go. That was the end of that.
And how do Romulus and Remus compare? Are they artists?
No.
Are they artists?
They're not at all. They obviously do. They have rat-like behaviour, so they'll do things. It's interesting, even though they do what Tony did, they don't do it as attractively. And I did consider, if I found it attractive, I would photograph it and perhaps use it, sell it as artwork. But I've not found it as attractive. I mean, they make a bed from tearing up sheets of paper, but what they produce just seems a bit of a mess. Whereas Tony's was almost layered and kind of carefully, scalloped paper. He would just do it beautifully. And whereas this bunch don't so much. And even when they eat an avocado, they don't kind of, they just make a mess, they demolish it rather than actually sculpting it. So they don't have creative talents. And their lives aren't perhaps as interesting because they aren't as adventurous and they don't go around the house and they don't interact with things. But, they manage to maintain it.